Hello, everyone. Welcome to
Hello.
Silent Podcast, the place where we're anything but silent. Today, we're joined by Big Brother Canada Season 10 finalists, Betty and Josh. How are you both feeling today?
We're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. I'm feeling okay. Thank you.
Oh, yay. Okay. I have a big first question for both of you. We've seen the importance of value of representation in television, especially shows like Big Brother Canada. You both broke some records for the Black community and the Indigenous / First Nation community. How do you feel about those accomplishments?
I feel so good. You know what? As a Black Ethiopian Canadian woman in this game, I really wanted to make sure that I represented my community loud and proud. So I hope that I did that. And I wish I would have gone a little bit further, but at the same time, all I can say is I'm just so, so grateful because if you saw my journey, I never thought that I could make it this far.
For me, it's definitely my proudest takeaway from this whole game. That's what I really wanted to do when I came here. I wanted to show Canada what an Indigenous person looks like. And in this game, I really wanted to be myself as much as possible and represent every part of me belonging to the LGBTQ community, First Nations, Indigenous, African American, and really bring that representation to television so that other people who feel and look like me know that they can be a part of these spaces as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Betty, my question for you is you survived the block 5 times. I mean, your flowers, and you made it to final three. What do you think is your biggest turning point in the game?
Yeah, like I think it was definitely week 6. That was one of my hardest weeks in the game. I feel like I had my back against the wall. I was up against this guy, and I just was like, I have got to prevail. I've really got to pick up my stocks, and I've got to really try my best so I can get off. So I relied heavily on, my social game. I feel like it was very unique. Like I never gave anyone bullshit. I was always like, yo, this is what I'm gonna do for you. I wanted to show value, but in an honest and like a way that I could really honor. And I think that the house guests saw value in that and they kept me in the house.
All right. Well, I think that kind of leads into my follow-up question for you, which is which time did make you feel like the most nervous and which time did you feel the most confident going up on the block?
I felt the most nervous, I'll tell you, was week 6 because, well, it was either week 2 or week 6 because week 2, I had no idea that was coming. I was like, literally, Marty had told me to kick my feet up. I was chilling, relaxing. And then all of a sudden it was me. And I was like, are you serious right now? So especially at that time, I had absolutely not many strong relationships. I was like, are these people going to keep me? Like, what am I going to do? So I would definitely say week 2 probably even surpasses week 6. And then my most confident moment was when I won that POV because I'm sure you saw like there was no way I was going to campaign to Marty. He already had his eye on me. I was his target. So I was like, you know what? The only thing I can do at this point is win. And that's exactly what I did. And it felt really good.
Perfect.
Awesome. Josh, I have a question for you. So I think the first thing we have to ask is why marine biology? Do you know marine biology? Like, is it a hobby? What made you choose that as your profession?
This is the best question I've had all day. I know nothing about marine biology. I didn't even research it when I got into the house. I do have an undergrad degree in biology that I did before medical school. So I was just like, biology, people can ask me questions. I'll know a thing or two. But I think Kevin was the first one who really started to grill me on day one. And it freaked me out because I was just like, I'm committed now. I've already told people that I'm a marine biology student. So now I absolutely have to go with it. And there was that moment where Kevin asked me what's the difference between a barracuda and an eel. Had absolutely no idea. So I was like, he's on to me for sure.
Amazing.
Okay. I guess my second question for you, Josh, is a pivotal eviction on the shows the pivotal evictions were Steph and Gino, which happened to be at the same time that you were on the block beside them. Why do you think that was?
I really do think it was just because I really had a strong social influence in this game with this really deep personal connections that I had with people. And people really wanted to see me in this game, even if it wasn't good for their game, just because of that emotional side. So I really played on that. And that's really what kept me during those house flips, to be honest. And for so many people to be on board.
Awesome. Betty, what move or what part of your gameplay do you think got you to that final 3 position?
What move? I honestly am gonna go back to that POV. Like when I won that POV, it really did light a fire within me. And I was like, wow, I can actually do this. I was someone who really, my strategy was playing week by week, because when you're on that block that many times, you're just like, you can't really look into the future. Like all you can do is play your game day by day. But when I won that POV and then Josh put me up in the triple and then I immediately won an HOH, I was like, bro, I came here to play and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I think that's the moment for me.
Awesome.
We saw that you were surprised when Josh did not pick you for final two. I'm just curious to hear what your plea would have sounded like. A lot of people wanted to hear your final speech. Do you mind giving us a little bit of a taste or a little teaser of what you would have?
Yes, of course. I really wanted to be in that final two spot too. If I would have been able to pitch to the jury, I would have let them know, like, I played this game so honestly, so authentically to who I was. When I pitched to you guys, I wanted to show value in my game. I was an underdog. No one believed in me. Everyone underestimated me. I continued to fight. I fought for my spot in this final two, and I really hope that you guys will see that I deserve this win. Something along those lines. And I probably would have given a shout out to my Ethiopia, Edmonton, Northside people, obviously, all day, every day.
Love it. I'm glad that we got to get a little bit of a taste for sure.
Thank you.
Cool. Jump back to Josh. Josh, when you made the decision to bring Kevin with you to the final two, what was it about Kevin's game that made you think that he maybe would have been easier to beat at the end?
Yeah, there was a few parts to this. I'll start with the days before. Kevin was really in my ear after that final four eviction and Helena left, because that was his number one. And he really kind of was planting seeds that Betty would be harder to beat. She's been on the block more. She's fought hard. She's won more competitions. Kevin's won one POV. He didn't really have strong, deep social connections with anyone in jury. And so in my mind, it was like, Betty's also going to be harder to beat. And then there was the part where he planted a seed that Betty and him were making a final two, and Betty's the one that pitched it to him. And so that kind of hurt me a bit. So I did have a bit of a petty moment when it came to that. And I was like, well, she's not going to take me to final two. Why would I take her?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we only have so much time to talk to you guys. I feel like I want to talk so many more questions, but I think one of the last questions I'm going to ask you is, could you both define your games in one word? And if so, why that word?
Yeah, definitely. I think mine would definitely just be fight. Like, I think that's all in the game, especially from week 2 up until, week 10. That's what I did. I fought day in and day out, and I fought for my spot in that final 3. So yeah, I'm a fighter through and through.
I'm going to add a little hyphen, but I would say emotional train wreck.
Totally fair. It's great to live your emotions for sure. And we definitely saw that. We loved your vulnerability.
Thank you.
Do you have any final thoughts or anything you would like to say before we end our interview with you guys?
No, just thank you so much for me. Just thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much for tuning into the season and being entertained by us. It was definitely, I can't wait to watch it. I'm so excited to see what everyone else saw. So yeah, I just want to say thank you so much.
You're in for a ride.
For making the space. Yeah.
Well, business be, Josh, we're so thankful to have you both. And we are so excited to follow your journeys outside of the house for sure. So thank you so much for having this interview with us, and we wish you nothing but the best moving forward.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both so much. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Silent Podcast, the place where we are everything but silent. Today, we are joined by Big Brother Canada Season 10 winner, Kevin. Kevin, how are you today? Congratulations.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm unbelievable. It's amazing. How are you?
So good. We're so excited to be here and chatting with you today. I'm going to go ahead and kick off. Kind of just asked how you felt, but how did you feel when you won that first part of the final 3 HOH, knowing that you were able to advance to that final part and really kind of control your own destiny?
Comps have not been my strength in this game. I think a lot of people want to hear that I've been throwing them, but I haven't thrown a lot of comps. Like I knew I would be bad at them, which is why I had to be focused more on the strategy. But no, I've been trying for most of them. Looking at that thing going in, you would say, okay, that Josh or Betty have this. I have terrible balance. It's not for me. But one of the beautiful things about this game and about my game, I think, is that there's so many ups and downs. You can never count anyone out. And I was just thinking about my buddy Helena and just continuing to fight for her and being able to do that. And I had a terrible strategy. Like, I was stacking them in the wrong way. Josh explained the physics to me after and why it didn't make sense, but hey, it worked. And I was so fired up.
Awesome.
Yes. Okay. I have to ask, were you surprised that Josh brought you to final two over Betty, or were you expecting him to make that decision and taking you?
I was 90 to 95% sure he was taking me. I thought I was losing. I thought I was the losing finalist to him. I thought it was the right game move for him. But again, like, we don't know how the jury's thinking, and I was pleasantly surprised. But over the last couple of days, it became really clear to both of us that we had a solid final two. I was lying through my teeth about it. I would have taken Betty, but Josh wasn't. I was convinced. I knew no matter what going into that comp, I was in the final two. I just thought I had to win. And if Josh won, I'd lose to him.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's honestly so surprising. We obviously feeds cut at some point. So
Yeah.
did you pitch to Josh the moment, Helena went home, and just stayed on him the entire time to ensure that your odds of Josh bringing you were that high?
Yeah, just that was my entire game. And after Helena left, just pitching to Josh over and over and over, focusing on our final two. After I won part one of the HOH, I don't know if it made the show, I told him, I got you. Like, I got your back. After he won part two, I jumped into his arms. I said, we did it. One of us is leaving with 100K. One of us is leaving with 20. I also made him feel like he was going to beat me no matter what, which I actually did think was the truth. So yeah, that was I was playing hard until I left the doors. Until I left the house.
Amazing.
I left the doors behind. There were a lot of doors in the house.
There were a lot of doors. Yes. So you won by a vote of 8-1, including Canada's vote. How much of jury management were you thinking about throughout the game? Like, how much did you take that into consideration every week?
My goodbye messages were my main jury management tool. I didn't tell Gino he was going home. I actually fake told Josh that Josh was going home in front of Gino and Jace, which is like just terrible jury management. But I wanted to do it so that Jace was more thrown off and less likely to win the upcoming HOH. So really it was goodbye messages. I think what worked out well for me is that I had strong personal relationships with everyone, barely any game with Herman and Moose. So it hurt less when I cut them. And also for people like Gino and Jace, who I was working with, they always expected me to be kind of slimy. So even when I did cut them, it wasn't as big of a surprise as someone like Helena, who maybe it wasn't more of a surprise for.
Awesome.
Fair. So speaking of jury votes, I'm curious to know which vote, aside from Helena, were you most confident in potentially having, and which jury vote surprised you the most?
So I felt like I had Summer because we know Summer loves being petty, and the way the triple went down, Summer was using the full name Joshua. Like Summer also said to a lot of people, I'm voting for Kevin no matter what at the end of the game. Summer had this vision of me and Helena sitting there, which was also so interesting to hear from her. So I felt good about her. When Arissa opened the Herman vote and it was me, I thought I was living in an alternate universe. I'd later learned that he sort of knew my game, which I thought he did. And then as people arrived in the jury house, it confirmed everything. And so that came out of nowhere. I was really surprised. And I think I actually have to thank him because he did, I think, go to bat for me as well.
That's awesome. So this jury, based on what we saw in some of the jury segments, had put a lot of weight on competition wins. So as we talked a little bit about, till the final HOH, you had only won one power of veto.
Yeah.
So given that you got 8 out of 9 votes, what do you think it is about your game outside of competitions that resonated with this jury?
We had a group that did want to play the middle. The showmans was so good at this game. They scared me so much in the last few weeks because I could see them like trying to control vote numbers and hide things within it. They were trying to do that. Herman was trying to do that. Moose was trying to do it a little bit. And I think because I did it, they respected that for those four at least. I was astounded that Marty voted for me. I can see now how, because I thought I really hurt him, but he was so cool about everything. So I think it was that in some ways maybe I played the game that a lot of them were trying to play.
Okay. When the jury members were casting their votes, they all got a little bit of a speech.
Yeah.
When Betty cast her vote, she said she was voting for the player who actually played the game, and she ended up being the sole vote for Josh. Do you have any thoughts on what she may have meant by that? As you probably maybe had a conversation afterwards.
Yeah, so Betty had no idea about the crash test dummies. She had no idea about any of my games. She thought I just kind of did nothing the entire game and ended up there at the end. So she really didn't know. And Josh was her closest ally, so she saw way more of his game. I love Betty so much, and I love that we were in there in the final three together, because we talked about being underdogs early on in the game, whereas I played like a pretty manipulative game, and she was so honest. And what's cool about this game is that you could have two people with a chance to win at the end who played polar opposites. So yeah, that's what she meant. She didn't know what I was doing. She's super happy for me now. We're buds.
Awesome.
I do think it's funny that in a week early on, you asked Betty to pretend like she hated you, and then she said, "But I do hate you," and you guys ended up in the final three. So kudos to that for sure.
Yeah,
we have a fun relationship.
Amazing. We loved watching it. Kevin, I have to ask you, what were your thoughts about the gummy bears, and what was going through your mind as you pulled your gummy bear?
Give me a moment. I'm about to go off.
Can't wait.
Okay. So me and Gino are having breakfast. I'm pretty sure I wake up in the morning, I'm going up. JC Lynn feels the same way. Marty comes down. He says, we need to talk. POV ceremony's coming up in like about an hour. Marty says, I still haven't decided. Marty says, we need to meet with the five of us. He walks away. Me and Gino are looking at each other. How has he not decided? This is so bad. Because I think the bad thing about the gummies was Marty was telling his four closest allies, I'm going to put up one of you. Like that hurts everybody, right? So we go up there. We're sitting in there. He gets everybody to agree. He's doing his hockey coach thing. And then he says, okay, here's what we're going to do. He reaches in for the gummies. I start laughing. Everybody else is shocked, because I also, part of me was always like going to the sort of third person, pretending I was watching it, be like, this is so out of control. I don't know why we all agreed. I know why Gino agreed. Gino didn't have a choice. Marty put him in a position. He didn't have a choice. So at the time, I do think, and I haven't gone over the math, I need to see diagrams after if I am right about it being wrong. At the time, we all think it's 25%. Gino picks the red gummy. I'm like, oh, I have a horseshoe up my butt. This is the best thing I've ever seen. I need to get away. This is surreal. I need to go sit alone in the room. And then like 20 minutes later, I'm like, oh my goodness, as Helena would say, the math was wrong. He just did that to us. He doesn't know. I knew the whole time he didn't know. It wasn't a diabolical thing. I'm like, I am going to use this at some point. Let me take this, put it in my back pocket. Gino goes up on the block. I'm living in heaven. And it only got better for me. Like I hated math since grade 10, but I love math now. I love mathematics. Math is beautiful when you apply it to real life. And last thing, sorry, I'm sorry.
No, don't, please.
It's so Big Brother because it's so serious. It's the entire game on the line for somebody. We have 8 people left at the time, and it's gummy bears. The like difference between the seriousness and the silliness, that is Big Brother to me. I love it.
It is literally peak Big Brother. And Kevin, I promise you, there are numerous diagrams and whiteboard photos out there of people sorting through this math. So you will have plenty to review when you are back on social media. Yeah.
I'm so happy. Yes. Yes. I need them. I love math now.
Okay, well, speaking of chaotic weeks, I felt like week by week the house was quite chaotic. Do you feel like you thrived in the chaos and some of the HOH reigns that we saw, or did the chaos make you more nervous? Like, how did you feel about the chaos and how did you use that to your advantage?
first 3 weeks, I've talked about how like I didn't feel, I'm terrible in social situations of 10 plus people. I don't know how to navigate that. It's, if you're, especially with 15 other massive personalities from across the country, it's too much. But then once the chaos started happening after that, I loved it. Like sitting there at the triple while there were fights going on in each room, I was trying to go get a good seat at each one. I couldn't figure out, like, should I be with Jason, Helena? Should I be with Summer and Josh? I don't know. Like, there's too much fun going on over here. I know that in the game, freaking out generally doesn't lead to good things unless it's strategic. And because I see that, and because I'm also able to detach a little bit, I love the chaos. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's not real life. I think because it's BB Can, like, it didn't feel like things got too personal most of the time. They were just game fights, game arguments, and I'm just sitting there just trying not to smile, having a good time.
I love that. I'm not sure how much time we have left, but I do want to know, as a super fan of the game, was there a time that it clicked for you that you really could win this thing? And when in the game was that?
After Herman, Moose, and Gino all went 3 weeks in a row, and those were the three people that Helena and I wanted to go those 3 weeks, especially we're like, there's just no way Gino goes on Marty's HOH. Let's try it. Let's try to shoot for the stars at least and get JC Lynn. After that happened, it started to become more real. And then it felt like at the final five, everybody wanted to sit beside me, and I was willing to take my chances and see how it went down. Although Betty wouldn't have taken me. Betty would have taken Josh.
Mm-hmm.
I do have, we were talking about math earlier, and I have a fun stat for you. You're the first winner.
Oh no.
Oh no. You are the first winner to have been on the block in week one in North America.
The Wi-Fi will be back in a second.
Ooh. Oh, I don't know if Kevin's frozen for me.
Oh, we're back.
Oh, there you
Perfect.
go. We're back. Yes.
We got him back.
Yes. So you are the first winner to have been on the block week one in North American history. In addition, you are the second person after Dr. Will to have never won an HOH in a season. Do you have any thoughts of that? I know you're a super fan, so am I. So I know that you're probably geeked.
Yeah, I'm so humbled and so flattered, and I am nothing compared to Dr. Will, but it is so nice to be mentioned in the same breath. I think as for the game going forward in Big Brother Canada, I don't know how many people were actually throwing comps this season. I don't think that many. And especially looking at how HOH this year was either bad because you did a terrible job and you were out the next week, or bad because you're Gino and you crush it on your HOHs and then you're the biggest target in the house. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot more people throwing comps going forwards.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, any final thoughts? I think we're just about at time, maybe a little over.
I think that apply to the show if you haven't, to everybody out there, because you never know what'll happen. And I just love how in Big Brother anyone can have their day, and strength can be a weakness can be a strength. Like I don't know what is good in this game, and that's the beauty of it. And the gummies are the perfect example of how fun and beautiful and ridiculous it could be. And yeah, thanks for the amazing conversation.
Thank you so much, Kevin. We really, really appreciate it. And congratulations again.
Thank you.